It seems like you're not a maximalist like many people these days. And speaking of which,
I've
like,
never been. Even in, like back in 2011, people said, well, what if somebody makes something better than Bitcoin? I told them I hope they do, because then we all get to use it. But Bitcoin itself is amazing right now today. So if something else comes out, it's going to have to be even more amazing. So that's a great thing. Why would I be sad about that? I'll be happy. And if something even better than Bitcoin Cash comes along, I'll be happy, because then I'll get to use and promote that. That was a good clap.
It's pretty good, yeah? Awesome. Dear crypto community and blockchain buddies across the globe, welcome back to season 2 of Cryptonites live from the CC Forum. We had some crazy talks and one crazy debate, and we're here with one of the biggest movers in the decentralized movement, and of course, founder of Bitcoin Cash, Roger Ver. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, but I have to correct that. I am no more responsible for the creation of Bitcoin Cash than I am responsible for the creation of Bitcoin itself. So I'm just a fan of both of them, and was late to the party for both of them as well, but earlier than most people. So.
Yeah, you were definitely here in the very early days. And if we could go back, I mean, first of all, you actually released a video recently about your experience in jail and the sufferings and how, you know, centralized prisons, all that really brought you through some dark times, and the community reacted really well. They love the fact that a strong guy like you know, can share such emotions, stuff like that. But if you don't mind telling us about what led you to really want to be a part of this movement, our community.
I guess I lay it back to studying economics, and the more economics I studied, the more I realized that anytime anybody buys or sells anything with anybody, both people are richer after the trade happens. Otherwise, the trade wouldn't happen. So anytime you buy, you know, anything from Starbucks, if you buy some coffee from them, it's because you value the coffee more than the money you pay them. And Starbucks values the money that they get from you more than they value the coffee. So after the trade happens, Starbucks is richer because they have the money that they value more than the coffee, and you're richer because you have the coffee that you value more than the money that you gave them. So both people are better off after the trade happens. So if we can build tools and systems that allow more people around the world to be able to trade with more people, everybody becomes richer after the trade's happening. Otherwise, those trades wouldn't take place. So when Bitcoin came along, I saw it as this tool to enable more people to be able to trade with more other people around the world. Well, that makes everybody all over the entire planet richer. It makes the entire world a better place for everybody. So who doesn't want to live in a better world than the one we have today? Well, the best tool to help make that happen is digital currencies and cryptocurrencies that can be used for payments to buy and sell things for people around the world. And that's why I got involved, way back in 2011 when Bitcoin was less than $1 each.
That's amazing. And you know, like, so first of all, you inspired my brother as well. He really looks up to you. And I think a lot of the people don't realize how important of a role you played in this space. You know, with the internet these days, people jump to fast conclusions and, you know, make decisions based on very little information sometimes, which is sad. But obviously in your times in New York and all your activity, like, what were things that fascinated you in terms of Bitcoin and want to propel that message to the community before moving to Japan?
Yeah, so I had already moved to Japan before Bitcoin had ever even been invented. I've been there like 15 years now, but I've been involved in Bitcoin around 9. But here it is. Finally, this is the tool to empower every single person on the planet to have 100% complete control of their own money. That's a good thing for every single person on the planet. So I had already had some assets from my own business that I had started in California. And so I took the money from that, used it to buy some Bitcoin, and then used it to start investing in all the first generation of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency businesses. So it's, you know, the things that are kind of household names like today, like things like Kraken and blockchain.com and BitPay and on and on and on. And I'm a fan of anything that works, and I want to invest in anything that helps make people's lives better, because that's how we make the world a better place. And I'm living in this world just like everybody else.
That is super cool and a great message. And in terms of Japan itself, a lot of people would say Japan would not be into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency if it were not for Roger Ver.
They would have just gotten into it later. So in 2011, one of the very first things I did, there's a guy that was working for me that was, like, I speak Japanese pretty well,
yeah,
but like,
it's really good.
You don't, and you all, a lot of people don't realize this. If you're working as a translator, you're always translating from your second language back into your native tongue. And so, like, Japanese is not my native tongue, but I had a guy that was working for me that it was. And so I paid him to translate the entire Bitcoin white paper into Japanese. And when he took the name Satoshi Nakamoto, he just chose the most common Chinese characters for the name Satoshi Nakamoto and just put that on the white paper. And then years later, there were a bunch of people so like, where did this kanji come from for the name? And they were trying to figure out like, is this the real kanji for the Satoshi? And it's like, no, the guy Mokoto is his name. The translator, he just chose the most common spelling for it in Japanese. But we translated the entire Bitcoin white paper and the entire Bitcoin.org website into Japanese back in 2011. And so we did that. And it's also kind of interesting. Jihan Wu, the founder of Bitmain, another giant Bitcoin Cash supporter today, he's the one that, in I think 2012, translated everything into Chinese and spread Bitcoin into China. So it's kind of interesting. The guy that brought Bitcoin to Japan and the guy that brought Bitcoin to China were both now big giant Bitcoin Cash supporters, because we view that as the cryptocurrency that most closely resembles the Bitcoin that we fell in love with back in 2011 or 12. And we see it as the one that has the best chance to bring more economic freedom to the world. And that's not to say we don't like the thing that everyone's calling Bitcoin today. We're just even more optimistic about Bitcoin Cash.
And I want to ask you a question based on that, but just before, first question, I want to ask you about jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
Do you still,
you want to talk about jiu-jitsu? No problem.
You still practice?
Oh yeah. Are you a jiu-jitsu guy sometimes?
My friend was at Carpe Diem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Do you know which
Dan
location?
Tinsley.
Dan Tinsley. I've known Dan since we were both at Triforce. Yeah.
Kidding me.
No, I know Dan, yeah.
You're kidding
Tall blonde
me.
guy from the UK.
Yeah.
Of course I know Dan. You know Dan
I
from your
worked
time in
with
Japan?
him.
You worked with him?
Yeah.
Small world, yeah.
No
Dan and I
way.
trained together a bunch of times, yeah. But yeah, I know Dan, of course.
No way. Did he get his black belt recently?
I think he's still a brown belt.
Oh, brown belt still.
Yeah, but I think both of us are getting pretty close to black.
Oh, really? Did that whipping thing hurt really, really bad?
It doesn't feel good.
This is so funny. In Japan, there's something, for those who do not know, it's called a gokon, where you go on a double date or you bring friends, the guys bring their buddies,
Group
the
dating
girls.
is maybe
Group
the
dating,
closest
is
word.
it?
Yeah, it's
group
not quite
dating.
the same
it's
in
not
English,
blind dating,
right?
you're right.
Yeah.
Blind dating is like hopping from table to table, right?
Yeah. Speed dating's different.
Speed dating is,
It's kind of like group dating, I guess.
I'm getting everything confused, but you're right, it's like a group, right?
Yeah, it's a group date.
And I heard that there was one girl who's really into you, and the first thing
Only
you
one?
told her, the first thing you told her was, have you ever heard of Bitcoin? And you started you got her to download, I think it was a Bitcoin Cash wallet, and you started transacting and showing her. And it was really funny because everyone's like, Roger doesn't give a damn about the girl. He just wants to, basically educate people.
Talking about Bitcoin can be a good pickup line, right? You can tell, okay, excuse me, have you heard of Bitcoin? And that can break the ice as well. But that story, I'm sure it's true. And I'm sure it wasn't the only time either. So.
Was that your most successful tool to kind of push mass adoption in Japan? Was getting people to download a wallet? Hey, let's do
That's still my tool today. Everybody I meet, I make sure they have a Bitcoin Cash wallet. And before we're done with this interview, I'll make sure everyone in the room has a Bitcoin Cash wallet if they don't already. So
thank you so much for that. So going back to what you were talking about, Bitcoin Cash. So this is like a kind of a big event in the cryptocurrency space, and I would love to hear from you. Obviously, there's politics going on both sides. There's some issues with maximalism and stuff like that. But what kind of made you feel like, I don't like where this is going? What was the turning point for you? It's like, okay, now it's time to create what you find is the real Bitcoin in that sense.
Yeah, I was actually pretty quiet on the scaling debate, and I had my opinion, and I definitely leaned towards the big block side, but I was real quiet about it, just watching and absorbing all the information and trying to learn, because I know I'm not the smartest guy in the planet or even necessarily in the room. And so I was quiet, listening and just trying to learn and observe from everything. And then all of a sudden I saw one side engage in massive censorship where they were banning anybody that had a different opinion than their own and deleting anybody's post that had a different opinion than their own. And when I saw the censorship start, I said, well, one side supporting free speech, the other side supporting censorship. I know which camp I'm going to plant my flag with, and of course it's the side that supports free speech and free expression and free, expression of ideas, and that's the Bitcoin Cash camp. And even to this day, the Bitcoin Cash community embraces free speech and free discussion. It breaks my heart to say it, but the Bitcoin Core, the BTC camp, the thing everyone's calling Bitcoin, the online discussion platforms for it are super heavily censored. Your posts will literally be deleted if you post something that's not towing the party line, and it's really sad to see that, because Bitcoin's supposed to be all about free speech and free transactions for people in the world, and instead it's this giant censorship-infested cesspool, and it's sad to see that have happened.
But to be very honest with you, I was censored before.
Yeah.
So
it's so disheartening, right? It just
Yeah.
breaks your heart to see this community that was supposed to be all about free speech and free expression of ideas engaging in censorship, and it's been going on for years now.
For years, yeah. So you had the idea of the technology, the bigger block size,
Well,
but
so
it was
that-
more
that
the
wasn't my
principle.
idea
The
either.
principle was
The principle is what made me speak out.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I already felt that way inside, but I was like, oh, I'll just be quiet and watch. What do I need to stick my neck out for that? And then when the censorship started, I said, boom, it's time for me to stick my neck out. And it's been really, really disappointing to see other people that I used to really look up to in the space, people like Andreas Antonopoulos. He's silent on the censorship. Like, where is he? Why doesn't he speak out about that? And I think he should. And it's disappointing to see people not speaking out about it more strongly. Even if you think that restricting the block size is a good idea, you should still support free speech and free discussion about that topic. And sadly, that hasn't been the case within the Bitcoin community over the last couple of years.
so that it was really like a value or principle that you disliked. You're like,
Free speech is important, right? Yeah. If you don't have free speech and free discussion of ideas, how can the world move forward? How can people be exposed to new ideas?
That brings me to a bigger topic, which is Donald Trump. Because
One of the biggest topics.
One of the
yeah.
biggest topics, right? Because a lot of people say that if we try to ban Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Ethereum, you're actually impeding on freedom of speech. And obviously, the American people, we grow up with, pledging the allegiance, and everything is about freedom, freedom, freedom everywhere, right?
I would argue that pledging the allegiance is not about freedom,
Yeah.
but they brainwash people into thinking so.
Brainwash.
So,
I was afraid to say that. Thank you so much.
No problem. I'll speak the truth. So.
But do you think we will arrive at one point if Bitcoin Cash or cryptocurrency grows enough where they think, okay, this is not the local drug dealer anymore. This is a bigger threat to our economic system, our monetary policies. Do you think the U.S. would ever ban it, or they would never do it because that would go against one of the core values of?
I hope they would never ban it, but if they do try to ban it, that's an even stronger sign that this is something worthwhile and that the world should have. So, but there's different politicians with different views, and hopefully the smart ones will realize that they should embrace this technology because it makes the world a better place rather than shun it. So.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. Moving on to today's debate. That was so cool. That was one of the best debates I've ever seen. And of course,
I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, it was really good. I think you represented the crypto community very, very well.
Decentralization is not the goal.
The goal. Wait. You want to talk about decentralization?
Well, I've been involved in this space pretty deeply, and I'll tell you, decentralization is not my goal. Decentralization is the tool that we use to enable censorship resistance for cryptocurrencies. And you need just enough decentralization so that you can't be censored within your transactions. And I don't know anybody that's having their cryptocurrency transactions censored, because you can literally use it to send and receive money with anyone right now today. And that's why websites all around the world are using it for payments. Right now today, you can book any hotel in the world with cryptocurrencies. You can book any flight in the world with any airline with cryptocurrencies. You can buy just about anything you want. And if you shop on Amazon, you can save 15 or 20% off your Amazon purchases by using Bitcoin Cash on Purse.io. That's a real reason for real people that aren't terrorists and aren't selling firecrackers on eBay.
Did you see the commercial? That was good.
It was a great commercial, and that's one of the reasons why people can use it. So this is real money and a real tool that are improving the lives of real people around the world today. And if you don't like it, don't use it. It's just that simple.
What were your favorite moments? What were the things that you liked about it, disliked about it? How did you feel in that actual moment?
I think my favorite moment was when Rubini started complaining that I sold firecrackers on eBay and that I'm a felon. All of which is true and has absolutely nothing to do with whether or not cryptocurrencies are useful to the world or useful tools. And so like the fact that he had to devolve into attacking me as a person rather than debating the merits of cryptocurrencies show that he absolutely lost the debate on every point. Otherwise, he wouldn't have started attacking me personally for what I sold on eBay 20 years ago.
So that was pretty funny. He was making it a bit personal, right? Like you were focusing on the big picture, and he was attacking you.
Which just shows what does that have to do with cryptocurrency? He lost the debate if he has to attack me personally.
Oh, so, that right away you thought he lost. He lost.
I think clearly, right?
Yeah.
It's called ad hominem, right? Attacking the man. He attacked me personally rather than the ideas of cryptocurrencies, which is what we were supposed to be debating.
Are there any other things that you agree with Nouriel Roubini on what he was saying, or is it just complete?
No. Like a lot of it, I actually did agree. So he's talking about like people all over the world are using PayPal and WeChat and Alipay and this and that to pay for things because those services are useful. He's right, they are useful, but more choices are a good thing. So people, in addition to WeChat and Alipay and this and that and Venmo, let's let people use Bitcoin Cash, Dash, Monero, Zcash, Zcoin, like take your pick, Ethereum, like there's a zillion tokens out there. More choices are a good thing. The more choices people have, better. Imagine if the entire world, the only thing that people could drink was Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
How boring would the world be?
Absolutely.
And the same is true with cryptocurrencies. Let's have thousands of cryptocurrencies and people can choose whichever one they like the best for the things they're up to, and they can use it. And if someone likes a different one than you, don't be mad at them. If someone likes drinking a different soft drink than you, that's fine too. Don't hate on them for that. So let everybody enjoy their own cryptocurrency. Let everybody enjoy their own soft drink or hard drink for that matter.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think your outro, the speech that you gave right after the debate, was where you really won everyone over. You got actually a bit of a standing ovation here and there.
I think this is a bit of an example of just a difference in worldview and a difference in philosophy. So I'm incredibly excited by the idea of empowering each individual to have choice. Have choices in their own lives. They can choose which form of money they want to use. They can choose which financial institution they want to deal with. They can choose what investments they want to invest in. I think having more people with more individual choices is a good thing for the world. And from Nouriel, we're hearing, no, nobody gets to do anything unless they use our fiat currency from central bankers and control everything with everyone all the time. Well, that's not exciting. That's not interesting. Variety is the spice of life. So let's have people get to choose if they want to use Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin or Litecoin or Ethereum or Dash or Monero or the US dollar or the yen or the euro, or if they want to trade at Ameritrade or E-Trade, or if they want to invest in risky ICOs. Let's let people have the freedom to do that. And that's the exciting part about blockchain technologies, because it gives everybody on the planet a level playing field in which they can all participate in the economy, and they don't have to get permission from people like Nouriel Roubini and his friends in order to do so.
You just mentioned many, many different type of cryptocurrencies. Ethereum itself, like some people have lost a little bit of faith. Some people think, oh, now DeFi and all these. Are you a supporter of some of these platforms as well? Do you want to see them succeed? And do you believe in Ethereum as of today with the virtual machine and the smart contracts?
I'm a fan of anything that works. And obviously Ethereum works, right? It's the second most popular cryptocurrency in the entire world with a bunch of different tokens and all sorts of things happening. And if it wasn't being useful to people, people wouldn't be using it. So like I said, I'm a competition maximalist. I want to see the most people using the most number of things, and it's just like this Darwinian evolution of cryptocurrencies, and the more competition there is, the better the end product is that we all get to use, and so that's a good thing for everybody.
Awesome, thank you so much. And so moving on to, obviously there was the Bitcoin Cash, and then we had Bitcoin Cash, and then Bitcoin SV.
Yep.
It
Same
seemed
story.
like
I wish the Bitcoin SV people good luck with their project.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Brock mentioned that. Remember
Yeah.
that at the end of
Yeah.
the panel? That makes a lot of sense. Do you have, like, when you think about this, are there any regrets in terms of like how things played out, or are you still in good terms with all these people? Or
the Bitcoin SV people are busy censoring everybody, and the Bitcoin SV discussion platforms are completely censored, so they're not supporting free speech. So to me, it makes it not an interesting project. I'm not interested in lawsuits, and I'm not interested in censorship. I wish them good luck with everything except for their lawsuits and except for their censorship. So for me, it's not a project I'm interested in personally. But I wish them good luck with, like I said, everything but the lawsuits and the censorship.
Great, beautifully put. It seems like you're not a maximalist like many people these days. And speaking of which,
I've
like,
never been. Even like back in 2011, people said, well, what if somebody makes something better than Bitcoin? I told them, I hope they do, because then we all get to use it. But Bitcoin itself is amazing right now today. So if something else comes out, it's going to have to be even more amazing. So that's a great thing. Why would I be sad about that? I'll be happy. And if something even better than Bitcoin Cash comes along, I'll be happy, because then I'll get to use and promote that. So
that makes a lot of sense. And you created this video the other day, which was about maximalism. And I will never forget one of the analogies, and I was really touched because you talked about how in politics, there's always a spectrum. You can choose between, being liberal, extremely conservative, and religion also. We have extremists, and then you have the people who just don't have religions and stuff like that. But is maximism close to that side, to the extreme right side, in terms of it's my way or the highway, or I'm not open enough to accept other projects, or is it a little bit different in your opinion?
yeah, I think recently I compared the Bitcoin maximalists to Antifa.
Yeah.
And they just don't want people to even be able to have ideas in their head that doesn't conform to what they want the world to be. And like, that's not the world I want to live in. I want to live in a world with like a diversity of not only cryptocurrencies, but a diversity of ideas. And then people can argue and debate and sharpen those ideas, and we can figure out, what the most effective ideas and thought processes in the world are to make the world a better place for all of us. But like, imagine if everybody had to think the exact same thing. How boring would the world be? And we'd never be moving humankind forward.
I'm very happy to see that you're so open-minded. So in terms of Facebook, for instance, losing some of their best buddies recently, obviously it seems like you don't wish any ill will to anybody, and you're very open-minded. I'm very happy to see that you're such a good person. But Do you feel bad for them, or some people are like, yeah, you guys lost this partner, PayPal, you lost this partner?
No, I think that's disappointing. So we're talking about the new cryptocurrency, Libra,
Libra,
the no longer new cryptocurrency, the abandoned new cryptocurrency. No, I think that's sad because it's more. It would have been more competition. They would have to make the Bitcoin Cash and Ethereum and everything else step up their game to compete with this, and competition leads to better results for everybody every time. The fact that we have McDonald's and Burger King means that both of those companies' hamburgers are better than if we only had one of those companies. And the same is true with the cryptocurrency. So I was really sad actually to see Libra just disintegrate into and the way it disintegrated though is the really scary part. It's the politicians basically sending threatening letters to these companies saying, you better not do this or we're going to make your life living hell. How is that them being our representatives, right? That's not a representative. That's like a slave master bossing everybody around. So I don't think that's cool either.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm glad to hear you say that because people are actually celebrating almost like, woo, these guys. So that's really, really good to know. In terms of investment platforms and stuff like that, how have we evolved if we want to purchase Bitcoin Cash, like in terms of the early days of being able to purchase Bitcoin Cash to now? Are you happy with the evolution and how the accessibility has come?
And it's getting better and better every year, but there's still a huge amount of work to do. So one really cool tool that we built recently is local.bitcoin.com. And it sounds like local Bitcoins. What's exciting about that? But we using smart contracts on Bitcoin Cash, we made it so anyone can buy or sell Bitcoin Cash in any country for any payment method with no KYC. It's direct person-to-person transaction, but we're using what's called a self-custodial escrow. So the Bitcoin Cash is locked in an escrow, so no party can run away with it, but the platform itself never touches the money. So like the platform itself never has to do any KYC or any sort of nonsense on that. So it's a really powerful tool that's really getting more and more traction all over the world, and I'm excited about that as a way to allow more people to buy and sell, not just Bitcoin Cash, but any cryptocurrency on that platform, because you can then buy and sell Zcash or Dash or whatever you want, with Bitcoin Cash being the other side of the trade there using the self-custodial escrow. So it's a really cool platform over at local.bitcoin.com is that platform. And we built that, and it's our own product, but it's awesome if I do say so myself.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of which, you actually, in terms of regulation and KYC and ML, you gave a really powerful speech at DEF CON just a week ago.
Yeah,
maybe
were you in the room for that?
No, but I saw the article, Roger Ver, and then I have the article in there, but I heard that you gave very emotional pitch on, why this is BS, we shouldn't have this KYC ML stuff. Do you mind just telling us what you talked about, and hopefully they can find footage of you actually making that speech?
Yeah, although I found out afterwards, apparently they didn't film it, or that wasn't supposed to be filmed, and my heart was bad. I had the same reaction when I found that out, because I think I gave a good talk there. So maybe someone somewhere has it. I would love to see it myself. But
if they have it, should they tag you on Twitter or something like that?
Please do, yeah.
Tag, please.
But like the main point, like you hear a lot of these companies talking about like, we're compliant for this and compliant for that and compliance. And I told people, every time you hear a company talking about compliance, change in your mind the word compliance to obedience, because that's really what they're talking about. And they're not just talking about any kind of obedience. They're talking about being obedient to a bunch of strangers living in a far-off city that they've never met and have never met them and probably don't even understand anything about the business they're engaged in. And if you change the word compliance to obedience in your mind and you look at it from that point of view, you see just how silly all this nonsense is. You're bragging about being obedient to a bunch of strangers you've never met living in a far-off city. That's nothing to brag about. That's not marketing. That's not good marketing material for your business. That's just blind ignorance, right? Why would you be obedient to a bunch of strangers that don't even understand what you're up to?
Yeah, don't even know what matters to you, and they don't know anything about.
They don't know anything about your life or your business. Why would you be obedient to those people? If you sent them a letter in the mail saying that they had to be compliant with your demands, they'd laugh and you'd say, "Who are you?" Right? Same thing to them. They're just a stranger. A stranger is a stranger is a stranger, even if they wear fancy suits and work in buildings with flags out in front. Like, why are they any more human than you or I? Why do they have any more right to boss you or I around than we have a right to boss them around? And I think the answer philosophically very clearly is they don't. The practical answer is they have a lot more guns and they'll hurt you if you don't obey them. But don't think of compliance as a good thing. Just think of it as obedience to strangers and arbitrary authority.
Very interesting. Compliance is obedience. And just now you were talking about features that we still lack in terms of investing in cryptocurrency. Yeah. Well, what are the things that you would like to see in the future to make things easier for everybody? Or
so it's not just things that I would like to see. I look at the things that I would like to see, and then we go out and build them, and we try and make them tools that people can use. And so historically in humankind, we've had such a thing as anonymous bearer shares. and governments have really kind of clamped down on those and made it really hard for people to have anonymous bearer shares. And we also have lots of companies that pay dividends. Historically, there have never been anonymous bearer shares that can also receive dividend payments. Well, we built that on Bitcoin Cash. You can now have Bitcoin Cash tokens that act just like anonymous bearer shares, but they can receive dividend payments right there on chain. That's an incredibly powerful tool for the entire world and really, really exciting. And I'm sure we're going to see more and more security tokens building on top of Bitcoin Cash and using this dividend payment tool to pay dividends directly to their token holders around the world. That's an exciting, powerful tool.
That is really cool. Is that a staking utility? Is it?
No, it's not even a staking utility. So you just, basically every Bitcoin Cash token just sits at a Bitcoin Cash address. So you can scan the blockchain to see which tokens are sitting at what addresses, and then you can send whatever dividends you want to those addresses. The dividends can either be in Bitcoin Cash or other Bitcoin Cash tokens. So a really cool example of this is the biggest stable coin in the world right now is Tether, right? There's like $4 billion of Tether floating around in the world on a couple of different blockchains. And the company behind Tether, they're earning some interest with the dollars that are in the bank account somewhere. They don't share any of that interest with any of the token holders of Tether out there in the world. Well, what if, using this tool that we built now, the stablecoin issuer that issues a stablecoin on Bitcoin Cash, they then share the interest from the bank directly to all the token holders, but the token holders still have 100% complete control of their cryptocurrency. You can have it offline in your paper wallet, buried under the shed in your backyard, but the interest payments still show up every month. So you can now have stable coins that earn interest on chain, but you don't have to give up your custody of the stable coin. That's a really, really powerful tool. So I think stable coins are going to wind up being on the Bitcoin Cash blockchain more than any other because of their fast, cheap, reliable transactions, and because you can pay the dividends or the interest directly on chain to the stablecoin holders. I think that's a big deal.
That's really cool. So is that the kind of like your definition of how you can actually give a use case for financial inclusion distribution as well?
Yeah, I guess my job as an entrepreneur is look for problems in the world and then find a way to solve those problems, or look at current solutions that people are using in their lives and figure out a way to make that solution even better or even more useful. And that's what I'm busy doing. So.
Plus the jiu-jitsu, right?
And the jiu-jitsu, of course. So that's how I keep healthy in mind and body.
So for when the black belt, Roger?
I gotta win some more tournaments at brown belt. So hopefully I'll be able to make some time for those tournaments. And I think now the line has been crossed, but for up until fairly recently, there were probably more videos of me on YouTube competing in jiu-jitsu tournaments than there were about me talking about Bitcoin. So there's a lot of videos on YouTube with me competing in jiu-jitsu tournaments, not just a few, a lot. So.
Wow, that's really, really cool. Just in terms of jiu-jitsu, do you watch UFC as well?
Of course. I used to watch it religiously in Pride, for those that remember that back in the day.
The Pride days.
Yeah. Now
Takanori Gomi, right?
Yeah, and so Kazushi Sakuraba was one of my very favorite fighters for anybody that remembers them. I got to meet him recently through my Bitcoin involvement, and that was a real honor to do that. But now I've been a lot more busy with the cryptocurrency stuff, so I haven't had as much time to follow that. But yeah, I still love all that stuff, of course. So
that's so cool. That's so cool. So people can actually watch videos of Roger Ware doing jiu-jitsu.
I set up TJ Dillashaw a few months ago. I ran into him in Panama and set him up with a Bitcoin Cash wallet and sent him some Bitcoin Cash. So
do you sprawl him?
I didn't get to spar with him. He was there for a stem cell treatment on his shoulder, and I was there for a stem cell treatment on my ACL and my knee. So yeah.
It's brutal. Jiu-jitsu is absolutely awesome. But thank you so much, Roger, for today.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. And yoroshiku onegai for the future. I know you're doing lots of good stuff in Japan. And I know a lot of people who personally would never got into this space without you, because you created the biggest community through Bitcoin Cash Meetups. And I think
the original Bitcoin meetup starting back in 2011 in both Tokyo and in Silicon Valley and around the world.
Yeah, is it still active?
The Tokyo meetup is incredibly active. Every single Wednesday, there's dozens of places in Tokyo that accept Bitcoin Cash. Now there's far more than accept BTC at this point. And we have an awesome community every single Wednesday. So anybody that winds up being in Tokyo, join us Wednesday for our Bitcoin Cash meetup.
Can they meet you there as well?
If I'm in town, I always go. It's fantastic. You will love it. And if you don't, start a Bitcoin Cash meetup in the town where you're in, and you'll meet all sorts of interesting, smart, wonderful people. It's a great way to make new friends.
Thank you so much for your influence, and hopefully all the viewers out there will understand that you've been in this space for a long time. You've been pushing the message, the word for a long time, and done lots of good. So hopefully, people will resonate with that type of message. And look forward to having you again, hopefully in next season of Cryptonites.
Can't wait.
If we want to follow you, where are you the most active? If we want to get in touch with you, is it
Bitcoin.com is the right place.
We're
focusing all my time and energy and effort into building amazing tools to bring more economic freedom to the world over at Bitcoin.com.
Thank you so much, Roger. And for those viewing out there, don't forget to like, subscribe, blast that bell notification, and of course, comment, and we'll try to get back to you with an answer as soon as possible. And don't forget to tune in next Wednesday at 8 o'clock, premiering at a computer near you.
And you got to share this video too. You left that part out. Share this video with your friends too, and set them up with Bitcoin Cash wallets or any cryptocurrency wallet. Use whatever cryptocurrency is the best for you, but spread this, right? It's up to all of us to make the world a better place, so let's share it with a friend.
Share with a friend, please, guys. Don't forget to share, listen to Roger Ver, and obviously put your comments. We love you, and catch you next Wednesday. Thank you so much.